All right. I think we're ready to start. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started with the circulation part of the meeting. And we're going to start with introductions. I'm Cassandra Stokes from Peoria Public.
Martha Troxel, RSA.
Elizabeth Wiles from Henry.
Wendy Adams-Good, RSA.
Amanda Gray, RSA.
Maria Garcia, Peoria Public.
Karen McClure, Normal Public.
Rebecca, Normal Public.
Hillary Dillon, Guilford.
Melinda Jones Rose, Guilford.
Sarah, Guilford.
Roxy Fossa, Norton.
Nicole, Fond du Lac.
Okay, and who do we have online?
Oh, okay, I can read who's online.
Sure.
So we've got Ann Turnbull from Kewanee, Beth Duttlinger from Lily M. Evans Library, Carla Scare from El Paso Public Library. We've got Dawn Smith from Illinois Prairie District Library, Joyce Carmack from Martin Township Public Library, Katie Sumner from Marquette Heights Public Library, Sarah Arnold from Kewanee Public Library. We've got Sarah Snyder, who I believe is from Jacksonville Public Library, Chantry Miller from Blessing Riemann College, Teresa Johnson from Fond du Lac, and Tina Murphy from Dunlap.
Okay. Next on the agenda, we have the RSA Circulation Committee Officer election for the chair. Is there anyone here interested in the chair? I'm the chair right now and have been the chair for a while. Anyone on this? There's really nothing to it. At the database circulation, Martha usually do all the speaking. But you have to present it to the users group, though. Nick, I see you peeking.
Just getting water.
Okay. All right, well, I guess I'll continue to be the chair. All right, next on the agenda, circulation topic.
And for everyone online, just a reminder, where you can get the information for the meeting today is under, on the RSA Library Support side, under RSA Board Committees and Groups. You go under Circulation Committee, and the very top agenda is the one for today. Also on this page, if you go down a little bit further, there are documents, and there's just 3 today. We don't have as many as I usually put out here for the meeting today. So one of the first things that I do want to show everybody, and this is something that we've made a decision to go ahead and turn this on for all the RSA libraries. You do have an option after we get it turned on that if you don't want it, that you can actually turn it off yourself. So I'm going to show you how you can go in. It's not turned on yet. I'm going to turn it on, and this will be just the same way you could turn it off. So this is adding a birth date column to the user search screen, or user search helper. So you do have to be logged in with your supervisor password to be able to go in and turn this off after we turn it on. And to do that is you just go to the checkout wizard, you do a right click, go into properties, go over to the helpers tab, click on user search, and the only option in the behavior is display birth date. And what this does is then when you go out and you use the user search helper to search in any of the wizards, let me browse search here. It adds an additional column here which has the birth dates on it. So we just thought this would be an additional help for when you're trying to verify whether somebody has previously had a card in another library. The other place that this shows up, because anytime you make a change in the user search helper, it changes your search in the when you use the check duplicate user button. This is also going to show up when it's checking duplicate users. So, going to use a registration. I'm just going to make up something here. Oh, I don't want to do that. I'll do my daughter. When you come down here and click on the Check Duplicate User button, you'll see that the birth date is also included on this too. And just a reminder with this Check Duplicate User button, if you've gone into your User Search Helper and you have changed it so that every time you use it in checkout, it defaults to only search your library's patrons, then when you're doing the Check Duplicate User, it is only searching your library. It is not searching the entire RSA database for patrons. So if you have changed the default library in your checkout to your library, you have to make sure before you go to create a card that you go out into Display User and search the database to see if there is actually an item for that or an account already in the database for that user. So. Oh, I wanted to get rid of this, didn't I? But I think we will probably have this turned on by the end of the month. Hopefully, Kendall, I don't know if he's listening to me. And then we will put out a letter or an email on the listserv once that we do this, and you do have the option of turning it off if for some reason you don't want to use it at your library. Now, did you turn it on, Sarah, at your library after you got back after our meeting? Did you turn it on, Nick?
Yes.
Now, we talked about this at the last Circulation Policy Subcommittee meeting, and are you finding it's coming in handy at all for anything, or?
I have found it useful. I haven't found out if any of my staff have noticed it yet. I haven't really been in at work much since we turned it on.
Oh, okay.
A few times I've been there, it has helped me catch a few
Okay.
people or beat the list down.
Nick says he has found it useful. He has turned it on at his library, but he doesn't even know if the staff has noticed it yet or not. But it has helped him weed out some users when he's gone in and used it. So, excuse me. So, we have any questions about that? Yes.
So when you're searching for patrons by name, can you search just by the date of birth?
Yes, you always could do that. Yeah, you sure can. If you go into, oops, no, I don't want to say that. You go in here. If you leave this on keyword, you have several options here of different ways you can search, and birth date is one of them. So yes, you can search by birth date, you can search by address, you can search by telephone number. So there's several different options there, but yes, you can search that way. If you turn it to browse, you don't have that option, but if you leave it on keywords, you do have an option of several different ways that you can search for information on the user's account. So.
And Rebecca, I usually use the birthday search, especially when I'm checking the name of a female, because their last name can change, and that's how I catch a lot of them. Oh, what's your last name?
Yeah, it is a good way of batching people together. You know, it's a good search. And if I ever get back to trying to work on the duplicate users, that's, you know, one of the ways that we went through trying to see if they were duplicate users was, you know, by also using the birth date. So that's one of the things that you can check. And also it's kind of, as you're checking records, sometimes if the names have changed, you can see that maybe the email is the same, that telephone number is the same. So, you know, obviously it had the same birth date. It's got to be the same person, you know, so, yeah.
It's been helpful to catch, when I'm looking at a list of a common name, and some have middle initials and some don't have middle initials, it's made that search through really quickly.
Yeah. Nick said it made the search quick. It makes the search quick when you've got names, common names, have middle initials, and some don't. So I think, you know, overall we're going to find that this is going to be really helpful. So, but we are giving you an option that if you want to, if you don't want to see it, you don't have to see it, but we will be turning it on for everybody. So. Okay. Another thing that I've had several questions about, and I wanted to kind of review a little bit with everybody. Now that Quincy is part of RSA, we've had a little confusion about the fact that they have, like, besides Quincy as the main library, that they have 3 other, one of them is kind of treated like a library, the outreach, but they have 2 what we are calling just pickup locations. Quincy Public Library has on the outside of their main building, and then at County Market Supermarket, they actually have lockers where people can request a book and then have it sent to the locker. They put it in the locker, and the patron can pick it up anytime they want to. So some of the pickup locations that we do have Quincy are lockers, and so it makes it a little confusing because we have not had libraries that have had this before. So one of the things that I did want to do is remind you that we do have a membership list out on the RSA webpage. If you are dealing with interlibrary loans, putting things into delivery, we do want you to refer to this list. We keep this list pretty updated. As you can see, the last update on it was May 2017. So Kendall's really good about trying to keep this updated as well as he can. What this list includes, and you can download it and you can print it off so that you can have a copy of. Of course, it has the workflows code that we have assigned the libraries, but it also has the library name, and we want to make sure that when you are putting a name in the delivery label that you use the library name, not just the, do not use the workflows code, because the delivery people have no idea what that means. But we go down on the list. You can see that under Quincy we have Quincy Public Library, Quincy Outreach, Quincy QU3 Locker, and QU4 Lock 2. So when you are filling out a delivery label, and that comes up as the pickup library, it's the lockers for, should have opened this up and I did not. For Quincy, you do need to put that on the delivery label. So I kind of wanted to, I had a copy of the delivery label here. So when you are actually filling out the delivery labels, just make sure that, you know, on the very top, you're going to put Quincy here. And then either right underneath them or 4 here is where you're going to put the pickup location. So it could be, oh, if I could spell or type. So that when it gets to Quincy, it'll end up at the right spot. So, but this is a little different because we've never really had libraries before that have just had a separate code for a pickup location. So I think it's making it a little confusing for people. So just wanted to show you, you know, exactly how that needs to be filled out and explain exactly what the lockers are. So it's really kind of an interesting thing. It would be kind of neat to see if any of our other libraries end up having the lockers like that, because it is kind of neat. I mean, the outside of their building, you know, they can just access a locker, put their card in, get their item out, and there they go. So the next thing, I'm talking about Quincy a little bit longer, is we are having some libraries that are having problems scanning the Quincy barcodes, because they do have different type barcodes than the rest of the RSA member libraries. Now, their patrons do have the regular RSA library user IDs. They all start with the D, and they're the, you know, the 10-digit numbers, just like the rest of RSA. But when it came to the part of trying to ask Quincy to rebarcode their whole collection, and we decided that it would take forever for them to ever even actually be able to be part of RSA. So we allowed them to keep the barcodes that they are using, and these are called CODA bars instead of what we have is like code 39 mod 10 barcodes, so they are different. And we have found that some scanners are not reading them. They're coming up with like item not found or something like that. So we found a couple of different problems when James and I have kind of been looking at this, trying to figure out how to get the scanners to read these. A couple of different problems with the scanners. Some scanners do not even have the coda bar option enabled on them, so that is why some of them are not reading them. Some of the scanners, when they read them, put a character in front of the barcode and a character at the end of the barcode, which is also causing problems. So what we've been doing, well, I've been doing a lot of is going out and searching on the internet, trying to find the manuals that go with each one of the separate scanners that we have been told are not reading the barcodes. And we probably have maybe 6 to 8 different ones that have been reported that cannot read those barcodes. And the other day, James and I went to Creep Gore, because Greg there had one scanner that did read it and one scanner that did not read it. So we went over there. He had a Unitex barcode scanner that was not reading it, and so I went out and found the information. So I just kind of wanted to show you, if you have a scanner that does not read it, you could yourself go out on the internet and try to find the manual for that scanner and look through it, and this is the type of thing that you're going to see. If not, we will eventually get to your type of scanner and try to help you get it coded right. But if it's something as simple as enabling it like we did with Creep Course, it probably took us not even 5 seconds to do it. So, and basically with something like this, I mean, all you're doing is going in, you're scanning this first barcode in here, you're scanning this one over here because this is disabled and enabled, and we scan this one over here. It shows you scan 1 to enable it. We scan that here, we exited, and it worked. So, you know, once you find your manual and kind of go through and see, then you will possibly be able to do this yourself. So, they make these fairly easy if you can find the right information that you need for it. So, like I said, we will be starting to, I've probably found manuals on at least 3 different ones so far. So, but part of it's kind of going through it and trying to decide, you know, is it really turned on? Is it not turned on? You know, what needs to be done? So each one's just a little bit different, but we are still working on it, just to let anybody know that has sent me an email and said that their scanner is not working. So, have any questions about that? I do have some libraries, I don't know that have the RFID pads. I don't know that they're reading that. Did you say, have you used, is yours reading them?
Ours will read them if we put a 3 in first, then, because it dropped the first 3. So if we punch 3 and then set it on the antenna, it will read the rest and it scans fine.
Okay, Roxy at Morton says their RFID pad will read it if you put a 3 in front of it and then scan it, it reads fine. Okay. And Nick, did you say you're not having any trouble? Or
I haven't had a problem.
yes, Nick hasn't had a problem. And how about, do you know if you guys
We had a problem with one, and I just called the IT person and they fixed it.
Okay, well, Cassandra said she had a problem and the IT people fixed it, and now they're working okay. So, okay. And I don't know, at Normal, have you guys noticed any problem with them? Okay.
Discharged one and it worked fine.
It worked fine. Normal's working fine. I do work, for you that don't know, I do work part-time at Washington Public Library, and I tried to check out to somebody the other day. It was not working fine. It's nice to know about the 3. I'll try that, Roxy, and see the next time I run into one there and see if it works or not. So, but probably somebody just needs to go into the RFID software or something like that and maybe have something set there. I don't know, but I'll tell Brian, because he's our IT person at Washington too. since he fixed.
Well, it was
Right?
Randy.
It was Randy that fixed
I
yours,
called
not
the big
Brian.
wig,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Alrighty. Just to let everybody know that we did have a library that was using multiple display locations. We do have, if you go out and look under the locations, we do have multiple locations that you can give an item that is display, something like display, case, just display, display basement, that type of stuff. And we did go out, Kendall went out, and edited the location to make sure that when the item is discharged, it gives you that full name instead of just saying display. We had one library that was saying that when they discharged an item that was maybe display basement, all it showed up was display, so that was kind of confusing for the staff when they were trying to shelf things. So it now should tell you which display area that your display item is in. So. And the next thing on the agenda is something that I just would like to have kind of a discussion about. And I don't even know how many people, some of you people that have been around for a while will know this, and I don't know how many other people realize that we do have, although it is very outdated, on the RSA library support site, an interlibrary loan contact list. Takes a minute here, I think, to load. You have to just download it, I think. Come on. Oh, is it down at the bottom? I did it twice now, didn't I?
No, in the bar.
Oh. Okay. And as you can see at the top, it said this was done in 2014, so it's a little old. And I don't know, do any of you go out and use this at all? Okay. Well, we did have a library that was wanting to know if we could update this or not. As a staff, my department in particular, in discussing this is actually a lot of work for the RSA staff to do this, because you know, we send out an email and ask for contact information, and then you get it from part of the libraries, then you send out another email, then you're calling libraries and that type of stuff. So we really would kind of like to do away with this. So we were kind of wanting to know, you know, what this group felt about that. You know, if you're not using it, where are you going to get information when you're calling the library about interlibrary loan?
I just call and ask.
Yeah.
I speak to your interlibrary loan person.
Just call and ask for the interlibrary loan?
Maybe I picked the thing up out of L2. I probably went there to get the phone number, but probably I just called the phone number and asked.
Okay.
And I don't know if our interlibrary loan person uses it or not. I can find out.
I wonder who's even on here for your interlibrary loan.
Kathleen Roberts.
Yeah, that is who's on here. You might want to check with her and see, but I really kind of have the feeling that nobody's using it, so that's why if nobody's using it, it would be kind of nice to. Yeah. What are you finding out there?
Teresa Fond du Lac says she uses L2, or she just also calls the library and asks.
She uses L2 or calls the library. Okay, I don't know if you know. Let me get back here.
Just delete it, see if anybody can find it.
That's a good way of doing it. Let's see here.
And if they really complain, we were updating it.
Yeah, there you go. Out on L2, under the member library section, or out on the Rails website under the member library section, there is information here. A little bit of information on the library. It gives you like the delivery routes and that type of stuff. You go down to Alpha Park, somebody we know. You can click over here. It gives you a little more information, their website, that type of stuff. If you click on View More, a little more information, and then you can go out to the L2 directory. Now, there's more direct ways to get to L2 than this, but this is one of the ways that you can get to their profile information. If the library has updated their information, over here on the side, we have a View Resource Sharing policies. If you click on that, oh, this is a bad one to use. There could possibly be a name here of somebody, contact information. Let me try somebody else. I think Washington's is probably. So it has Kim's name over here in the information and how to contact her. So if you don't have this filled in on your L2 account, it would be kind of nice if you go out and do this. This is one area that somebody could go in here. Another area, another thing on the L2 side is in this resource sharing things, it gives you an option down here of indicating whether or not you loan certain items in your library or not. So it's just one place to go. Excuse me, I'm going to have to go get something to drink. My voice is. I will be right back. You should bring something with me after that. Okay. Well, unless you ask Kathleen whether she uses or not, but I think probably what we'll do is I'm looking, because it seems as a group, you normally just call and ask for whoever is in charge of interlibrary loan. We will probably do away with that list, so. The next thing on the agenda that we're going to have, I would like to have another little discussion on. There's 3 things here in a row that I would kind of like to get libraries' opinions on, and that is whether or not your library allows longer loan periods. So, say somebody is wanting to check something out for homeschool, because lots of times homeschool wants longer than your 2-week, or somebody is checking something out for outreach and that type of stuff. Does your library allow that type of stuff? If you loan something to another library, do you allow them to check it out longer for, like I said, like homeschooling or outreach and home delivery, that type of stuff, nursing home? So, kind of, do you allow that at Normal?
We do.
You do allow that, okay.
For teacher facts.
Yeah, teachers and that type of stuff. Okay, okay. And most of the rest of you allow that type of stuff? Okay. We do have, I get contacted occasionally by libraries that they have loaned something out to somebody, and when they loaned it out, of course, they've kept it for an extended period for something such as homeschooling and that type of stuff. And that library really does not want to allow a library to keep things for an extended time period. So one of the things that I was considering doing is maybe coming up with a list of libraries that would allow their items to be kept longer for extended periods. Now, we're not talking, because I know sometimes we end up with schools that ask for something and then tend to keep it for like 6 months or something longer. We're not talking about, extended loan periods that long, but would that be helpful to you if you knew a library would allow you to keep things longer, for homeschooling or teachers or anything like that? And Elizabeth has a funny look on her face.
That now moves it into the realm of putting copy level holds on things to get the one that you know
Right.
you can keep longer.
Right. Yeah, it would make you do copy level holds for that, yeah.
I know what we do with the book club, and this may not, and that's not only sort of extended. It depends
Well,
on when
book
they come
club's
in.
another good example,
Well,
yeah.
Depending on when the books come in,
Yeah.
they may be checked out for 3 weeks, and that's it, because the book club meets in 3 weeks.
Right.
But we try to put a note in the hold that says, hey, our book club needs X, is that okay? I don't know that people pay any attention to it. I think it does show up as a note on the pick list. I don't know that people pay any attention to it.
I don't think does it show up on the pick list? I've never seen anything like that on the pick list. Elizabeth says she puts a note on it. What, in the comment section?
In the note thing, there's like a whole note deal in the whole screen. I think it is called note.
But I don't know if it's just a pick. But I guess my question or confusion is,
Comment.
Yeah, so it's got comments.
Yeah.
don't we allow within RSA, it's the receiving library's circulation rule that we go by. So these are all circ rules. So you're not asking for permission.
Well, Wendy is saying that, let me follow up on that.
Okay.
Wendy is saying that she's thinking when you are, when it goes to the circulating library, it's following that circulating holds rule or circulation rule, and it's not really, that should stop the problem. But this is what happens. There are some libraries that goes to the library and they check it out, and then they go into modify user and extend the date.
But some libraries already have 90, 180, even 365-day checkout circulation rules. So if it's already a rule, then it's okay, but it's not okay if you change it?
Nobody should be having 365-day rules. If they do,
Very
we
long,
need to change them.
Very long rules.
That is something that we're going to need to look at if somebody's got that many day rules and change those, because those are way too long.
Well, I guess my question would be that, so we offer teacher loans for 6 weeks at a time. So if our patrons go online, order in books from other libraries, they're delivered to us, they bring those holds from other libraries up to the checkout desk and say, I want these on a teacher loan. What's the best practice then? Do we offer them the teacher loan because that's our circulation policy? Or do we only offer the teacher loan on our own items?
So they say so it's not a circ rule. When they go to check it out, you change the date at that time?
Teacher loan, and we offer teacher loans for 6 weeks. So we do a modify, what is it called?
Or you do the
Modified due date.
Yeah.
Not the in the checkout, not
I
the
can't even think of it.
after the fact.
It would be from the checkout screen. You would change the
Right
extended
here.
due date from the checkout screen, not
Yeah.
a modified.
Special due date.
Yeah, special duty, that's what I was looking for.
So when we do that, they lose a hold, or a renewal. They keep track of how many renewals that person gets. So they would normally get a 3-week checkout with the renewal to make it 6 weeks. So when they get a teacher loan, it gives them a 6-week checkout, and they automatically lose a renewal on those items. So that way they're not keeping them for 6 weeks.
How do they
6
lose
weeks,
the
6
renewal?
weeks.
So Galesburg, when they have what's called a teacher checkout, and when a teacher brings an item, requests an item, and they go to check out, they can ask for the teacher checkout, which allows them to check out for 6 weeks, but they go in and use the special due date helper to adjust that. But that would be their normal 2-week loan anyway with a renewal, so that would be 6 weeks, the regular 6 weeks.
But how do you force to lose a renewal?
I think they keep track of it as a
She says they keep track of it at the desk.
They could,
Peoria,
so there's no online renewals?
No. With the teacher's card, at Peoria, we have the same, but ours automatically check out.
So that's, if you have the circ that way, they
Yeah.
set it, but I don't know how they're keeping track of, if the circ rule says they'll allow a renewal, how they're stopping them from having a renewal.
So if they try to renew online,
Yeah.
what's stopping them?
But they're not.
You guys do that.
Yeah, I don't think there's a way, I don't think they're currently limiting renewals.
Okay. I guess the problem comes when you have libraries that don't want their items kept.
So shouldn't we though then create a list of libraries who have those circulation policies, the longer circulation policies, and that library has the right to not send their items to one that has a 90-day or 180-day checkout rule.
Would that include libraries that offer teacher loans to teachers? Because there would be no way for the loaning library to know if the patron who was requesting it was going to be using a teacher loan or a regular loan.
Yeah, basically would require us to take an additional step of not only going by the circulation policies, but asking like the listserv, if you have a teacher policy where you're overriding things, can you please let us know? We're going to include you on this list. That's the only way to police that.
I'm just not sure there's a good way of doing this. And that's kind of why I wanted to discuss this, to see if, anybody had any thoughts on this.
So, I mean, the CERC rules are already on our website.
Right.
But it's whether or not we create a special list, including all of the ones that are the 90-day or greater, or whatever's considered too long.
We would have to check that list for every single item leaving our library, though, and
Yeah, nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to.
we do like 6 boxes a day.
Yeah, Nick says they have 6 boxes that leaves a day, and they don't want to check out.
I mean, I think we would be fine with not offering teacher loans on items from other libraries. If that's the policy, I don't think that we would, as the staff, would have any problem with that. I would prefer that to being added to some kind of list where our patrons who are not using teacher loans are being penalized because we're getting skipped over.
Maybe we don't do anything. Maybe we just leave everything like it is.
When we extend our due date, like we'll give somebody their renewal, like basically if someone's going on vacation and they tell us, they'll ask us for a vacation checkout, and basically what we do is instead of giving them the normal 3 weeks, we give them like they renewed it, so we give them the full 6 weeks. But what I do to check it out is I check the item out normally for the 3 weeks, then I go back in and recheck the item out for 6 weeks, so at the end of that 6 weeks, they can't get a renewal. Because I've exhausted the only renewal they have at checkout.
Yeah, Nick says if somebody's like going on vacation loan, he extends the loan. You extend the loan period.
We
What'd you say?
give them 6 weeks. But
You would give him 6 weeks, and then he goes in and renews it
for the same amount of time.
for the same amount of time, so they lose the renewal and they can't renew it. So.
People were taking advantage, like you guys were talking about, and that's how I figured.
Yeah, I mean, this is what, I'm hearing from some libraries saying, I sent my items, they've had it for 4 months, I didn't want them to have it for 4 months, I put a hold on it, but if you don't go in and renew it anytime during that, if you've extended it and they're going to renew it, you're never going to see that hold pop up, and that's part of the problem, is there's no way they feel that no way to get their item back if they want it back, is basically what it is, if it's extended and it doesn't get renewed, it's never going to pop up and say, hey, there's a hold on it, you can't keep it any longer type thing. So this is why we were trying to come up with some way of making that work, but I'm not sure what the answer is, to tell you the truth. So.
We don't do teacher, we do the book club one, and other than that, I can't think of an instance where we do it with somebody else's book. We'll do vacation things with our book.
Elizabeth from Henry says they will do vacation with theirs, and they'll
And not
do
even necessarily
book club.
all of our books. And book club is usually like 4 weeks max.
Yeah, and her book club is normally 4 weeks max, so.
Meet once a month.
Are we wanting to wait for workflows to stop it, or just like a policy for people to supposed to follow? Like, what's the?
Well, we discussed this a little bit at our policy meeting, but not a whole lot. We talked about this list because we were kind of looking at another consortia that does have a list of libraries, that allow longer loan periods so that their people in the consortia could refer to it. And so we were thinking maybe something similar to that would work, for us here, but from this conversation, I'm not quite sure whether it'll work or not, so.
I mean, would just having a policy saying if you're going to check out a transit item for more than, I don't know, pick a date, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever, that you have to call and ask the home library and put the onus on the checkout library. If we find out they're libraries are not doing it, do we yell at them? Or, like,
I feel like I yell at libraries a lot now.
Online, Beth Fettlinger says, I think that if you borrow an item from a library and the patron wants it longer than a reasonable amount of time, we'll need to define, she says, obviously, what a reasonable amount of time, but say 2 months, the lending library should be contacted.
What I think we probably will do is maybe come up with a policy from the circulation policy subcommittee. So we'll kind of let that one go, and we will come up with something here. And just to let you know, the circulation policy subcommittee did meet last month. Do we meet last month?
Yeah.
We actually have a new member that did not get to attend the first meeting, which is Roxy back there. And she doesn't know this, but we are going to, because we have a few things that we want to address, that we are going to be meeting a little more often for a few months so that we can get some things done here and address some of these. So, okay, so we will kind of leave that for the policy subcommittee to come up with some kind of a policy, which we will discuss the next time we're together. So, okay, my next discussion is family cards. And I was just wondering, do any of you here in the room issue family cards? Oh, you issue family cards at Lakin. Okay.
Well, West Peoria, because they have to pay for their card. So I think we showed it on there, and we put family after the name of the person.
Well, that would be a good idea. We don't do that. But we have like half a dozen non-residents that are.
Here's my question, once again, from a couple of libraries where libraries around them issue family cards. And what they are having a problem with is, number one, whether people really should be issuing family cards. Number two, they are kind of confused with the fact that it's a family card. One family member has the card, another family member comes into a different library and wants to check something out and does not have the family card because it's on the person of the other family member. And so because of that, they don't really like family cards. So I guess I was kind of wanting to know how many libraries are actually using family cards. And
my understanding was that the non-resident fee was for the family because it's figured on household size, and that you just issued one card for that family. And so, my non-resident ones, now I do take great pains to tell people, if you are going to a library other than Henry Public Library, you need to take your card with you. I can't guarantee they do that, but
Elizabeth says she does it on the non-resident cards because she thought they were supposed to be.
That was my understanding of how non-resident cards work, that it was for the family and it was supposed to be a card for the family.
Her understanding was the non-resident was supposed to be a card for the family, not per member.
I would change that, but.
So it's not like taxpayer cards, where one per household?
Yeah, see.
I can't sell, I have like 5 houses I can sell
Right.
cards, so I never sell them,
But yeah.
I assumed it was like a taxpayer card where if you pay for it, you get one card.
Yeah.
One card per household.
Exactly, that's what we're doing. Yeah.
We have lots of fee cards, so we don't do it that way. So if
Galesburg says they have lots of fee cards, they don't do it
wants
that way.
a fee card and she's got 3 kids, we give a card to her and all 3 of her kids.
Galesburg gives the
But then you have
cards to everybody.
at the date that they're all
Yeah, they
expired.
expire 1 year, and then when mom comes in and shows her tax paperwork and pays it, then we update all 4 cards.
But you got to know the other 3 cards exist. If she doesn't tell you, how do you always know? That's why we a lot of times only do one at Lakin, is because if you have multiple kids and attached to other cards, you have to remember that when it's the one card is renewed, the other ones get the same date.
Wendy says they do it one at Lakin so that you know the whole family instead of having to renew and know all family.
Use a profile of non-residents, so then if the person comes in, their user profile is non-res, so we know that they need to pay for it, and then we set an expiration date of 1 year. So if it's expired, we know they haven't paid.
Galesburg
So,
says they do a
as long as
non-res.
she has kids and they let them expire, that's on her. We don't
Okay.
keep track of that.
Well,
She says,
then you have the kids that go to somebody else's library.
Yeah.
And they're
That's
expired,
mom-
and they don't
that's
understand
mom's
why,
problem.
yeah.
yeah, Galesburg says if they give it to a whole family, if mom's expires and does not tell them that she has children, then the kids just expire, and they will deal with it when they come in and try to use it, right? Okay.
How exactly do these family cards you're talking about work?
So like for
I've
us,
never run into any type of family card before.
well, the main problem that we have is that Knoxville is right outside of our library, and they have not fully joined the RSA yet. So they issue family cards to one family, so then they bring those cards into Galesburg to get barcodes on them, so they can use them with us. So Dad will go in and get the card, and it'll come in and say, John Smith's family, so that's how we enter it into the library system. Well, then he keeps the card, and Mom comes in to check out, and she doesn't know whose name it's under, we can't find it. They have different last names, or they don't
Galesburg
have
says,
the card with them, and we have a hard time looking them up.
yeah, Galesburg says it's hard to look them up when they've been issued by another library and they've put a barcode on them, not knowing for sure how they've been entered and the different family members. So I guess when I'm thinking about this, one of my problems when I keep thinking about this, because I've been thinking about it, is the fact that patron privacy is what really bothers me about this whole thing, is that, you know, Mom's going to know what Dad's checked out and Dad's going to know what Mom's checked out. And when you start talking about patron privacy, this to me kind of...
From a practical standpoint, Henry, usually Mom or whoever got the card checks out for everybody. So she already knows.
Yeah,
She walks in,
Elizabeth said
Dad's like, I'm not going there. Give me some books. Okay.
She said practical from Henry, and one person checks out all the books for the whole family, so.
And Nick, you wouldn't know
But
with my
Peoria,
non-resident because
it's
they are
the
in
main
a
person.
name.
Yeah.
And Cassandra says at Peoria it's the same way.
Or are we
I think
talking
so.
about like a discrete function in workflows that acts differently as a family
No.
card that like?
No, there's nothing that acts differently at work.
That's the problem, is that we don't have a group.
No.
Okay, so we're just talking
We're talking non-resident.
linear, like non-resident.
Yeah.
Non-resident, okay, sorry.
Nick was asking if there was something in workflow that was a family card, and no, we're just talking of the library just creating a card that they call a family card for a family, so.
We don't even call it a family card, but we issue one for the whole family. And
Yeah, but it's usually in we do someone's name.
yeah,
It's the wife or the husband, and everybody uses
and
it.
sometimes, you know, I have at least one. Actually, I have one that's in the wife's name, and it's the husband who comes in and checks stuff out 99% of the time. I don't know why it's in her name. She put it in her name. I have one that's in the husband's name, and it's the wife and kids who come in with the card and check stuff out.
Yeah.
You know,
Elizabeth says she has like, and the husband's name and the wife will check out, and the wife's name
Well,
and the husband will check out.
yeah, we saw, you know, in that particular case, I think at the library, we've seen him twice. He filled out this thing when he got the card, and he returned some books once.
Okay. She saw him twice when he came in and filled out the card and returned some books once.
And I don't have a lot because.
So, Sarah, you know, like at Galesburg, you said, you know, you have the ones coming in from Knoxville. If they came in and said they were part of the family, do you check an ID to make sure that, okay, she does check an ID on them to make sure they have the same address and that type of stuff? Okay, she said yes, so.
It looks like, I think it's Bobby and Quincy says they enter non-residence cards as last name, first name, and then the child's name or other people in the family's name in parentheses. So when you search, you can see the other people's names in the family. It's under one person. But I don't think that also agrees with our patron registration standards.
No. Interesting. I haven't seen one out there like that yet. So.
We've done notes before, but that's very time consuming.
Yeah, it is. Okay, well, It sounds like several libraries are using it.
That was my understanding, that with the taxpayer ones and the non-resident ones, it was one card per that, whatever.
I'm going to check on that because I don't think that's right. Taxpayer, yeah, it is.
Okay.
But I'm not so sure about the non-resident. So let me check on that. Okay. Well, I knew there was going to be discussion, but I didn't know how there were going to be any resolutions.
You know, Wendy and I, there's a lot of space around us that's not served.
Yeah.
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 Right.
It's
You know.
smaller libraries that have a lot of area around them that aren't in a library district. It's a little bit different than some of the larger, well, like so, Nick, you probably don't hardly have any area that doesn't
I
have.
have one street that I can sell to, and I.
Yeah, Fond du Lac has one street that would be non-resident in his whole library district. So.
They're gonna have to start buying cards though. We just found out recently that the street got unincorporated.
Oh,
City limit.
just found out the street got unincorporated. Okay. Okay. I'm going to let Wendy come up here and talk about the release items button. Let me get out of your way.
Okay, I'm going to talk about the release item button, which is an option on the Trap Hold Wizard. Discovered that there's a little bit of an oddity there. We had a ticket from a library that was questioning because they had a patron who had placed a hold on an item. It was coming from another library, and it magically showed up as available at the pickup library, and it wasn't there. So I had run a report to take a look at what actions had been taken and workflows and where it was supposed to be at. And it looked to me as though it had been trapped by the owning library and then magically become available, which I thought was a bug. But actually, it's a feature in workflows, kind of a crazy feature as far as I'm concerned. But when you go into trap holds, and type in my item here. Okay, so I trapped the hold. I had created a hold for myself to go to my home library. If that gets trapped again, if you click on that button again and trap it, or if you scan it a second time, you get this little box that says you can release the item, which basically gives you the ability to release the item from that trap. So if you click on that, then it asks you again to put in an override. So if you do the little RSA override and release the item, still doesn't release the item, you think, anyway, because it pops up another box. It gives you three options. And so the option that is actually highlighted is put item in transit. So that's actually going to put the item back in transit to Lakin for my hold. You have the option of cancel, which to me, and I think I'm a somewhat logical person, cancel would mean that I'm canceling what I just did. What it actually will do, though, is cancel the trapping of the hold, not cancel the override that you just did. It will actually cancel the trapping. So it will actually, that action is what will actually put it back on your shelf and not be trapped and not be put in transit. And then you have this lovely button in the middle that says make hold available. That's the bad button. That button will make it available at the pickup library immediately. So if you ever would get to this point, don't ever click on mark hold available because we don't want to do that. But if you really are trying to get to the point of you didn't want it trapped, you didn't mean to have it trapped, cancel will actually complete the previous two boxes where you were trying to override it and untrap it and get it out of transit. Does that make sense? I know it doesn't make sense to me anyway, but those are actually the logical steps, apparently, of the way that it works. We cannot remove the button for make hold available. I did ask CRC Dynex if we could just somehow hide that button, and the only option was, well, you can not let that user use the trap hold wizard. It's like, well, that's not really an option for us. We just want that button to go away, because I don't know when you would ever want something to be immediately available at another library where the item isn't at. But okay, and again, you have to go through multiple steps to get to that point. But if you ever would accidentally click on that button, you might want to just at least let the pickup library know that it now shows available. That patron's going to get, if they get like the emailed notifications or shout bomb notifications, they're going to be notified that it's available at their library, and it's not.
I think it might be real easy just looking at those boxes quickly to click that hold available, thinking that you are sending it on.
Yes, transiting it. Yes,
available.
Isn't it accidentally double discharging the item
Yes.
to make it? Because I think that's what had happened with us. Someone had come in for a hold that was available. And it looked like it was double.
It does require the double trapping, because that was the only thing I could really see on the scan log, was that it was trapped twice in a row. But yeah, according to CRC, they would have had to have taken these additional steps and made it available. But now whether or not we've done a couple of double traps and it's just magically happened, I think that's happened too.
So this doesn't necessarily explain all of it, but I do know that I have told all of my staff in the trap hold, you cannot push that button. I don't care if you just place the hold, you cannot push the button, because then I have to call the library at the other end and say, hey, we just put something on hold on our shelf that's still on your shelf. Could you help me fix that?
Yeah.
Bobby from Quincy Online says they actually use this button to make things available at those pickup locations.
Yeah, so I guess,
Only time we would probably theoretically use.
So they're the first ones we've had. So they're the first ones we've ever had that. But although, I mean, if you place a hold for something that's in your library, physically it's already physically there. It's your item or whatever, and you place a hold and then do the trap hold, it automatically makes it available. So I don't know why you'd ever have to go through the additional step to make hold available, other than since they've got those special locations that are different than where they're logged in at. Yeah.
How many people actually use the trap hold wizard versus just discharging the item to trap it?
Well, we were asked the question from Quincy, what's the difference? And there's really not a huge difference other than on a scan log. It will show us that the item was discharged and then trapped, versus if you use the trap hold wizard, it just shows it was trapped. There's an additional code that's logged.
And if you trap it, it automatically shoots out a receipt, where if you discharge it, you have to do another step to get your receipt.
Oh,
Mine spits out the transit slip.
Without having to click, doesn't the box pop up and then you have to click OK?
For us,
it does.
That's one more step. When you do this, it just automatically does. You don't have to do that one.
You're using your...
You mean the printer box, the printing box?
Yeah.
We want that to pop up anyway, so we can tell if we want the sticky printer or the non-sticky printer.
Oh, okay, because they go between two printers.
The Fond du Lac says they use the discharge instead of trap, that they don't use the trap hold wizard.
Well, we use the discharge too.
They use the
Pure.
trap.
Yeah, I've just never found a compelling reason why trap hold is better than discharge. But I'm open to compelling reasons.
Other than your...
Well, if
you're
you
making
wasn't for your
additional
receipt,
tags.
yeah.
But that makes sense.
No. No, it doesn't.
Going on, one of the things that I do want to remind everybody, because of different things coming up, to make sure that you are signed up for the RSA Listserv. So if you go out to the RSA membership link here, there is a link that says Listserv right here, where you can subscribe to a mailing list. If you're not subscribed to this, go ahead and go out and subscribe to this, please, so that you can keep up with updates and anything else that we are doing. This very same information goes out into your Gmail account, but the thing is that sometimes people will be assigned the Gmail account and read the Gmail account and not share the information with other people in the library. So just kind of to make sure that you're up to date. We would like every staff member in every library to sign up for it, you know, if it's, you know, possible. So just keep up to date on things. Please sign up for the listserv. So. Just a little bit of information. I don't know what I've got over. We have several things going on with libraries. Let me get back out to where we were. We do have, of course, this will probably be the last time we put Quincy on any of these lists, but Quincy is now live and they're filling holds, and they're just working on, you know, some little cleanup projects. Valley District Library, Monday I went out and did circulation training with them, so they are going to start on the 31st circulating at Valley. Then it'll probably be another month before I'll go out and do holds training, so it will be a month before you start seeing any kind of holds from them. Knoxville, they are kind of, I think, ending up their cataloging. I will be going on the 6th of June to do patron entry training at Knoxville, so they are moving along. We have Bushnell Public that's upgrading from Union to Basic. Williamsfield is a new RSA Basic Online member, and Apons is a new RSA Basic Online. Prairie Creek is upgrading from Union to Basic. Ransom Memorial is a new RSA Basic Online. With schools, we do have some schools that are losing their librarians and they are using ACE in the library. This seems to be happening more and more with our schools. So Henry Smithwine did not have a librarian this school year, and
There's supposed to be a plan for having.
yes, we knew there was supposed to be one, but they say there is no plan for next year either, so we're not sure what's going on there. Roanoke Benson is no longer having a librarian at the high school. They are going to be using an aide in the library there, so just to let you know that. And usually it seems like the closer we get to school starting again in the fall, the more of these that we hear about. So these are just the ones that we currently know. It seems like more and more with funding problems, the school librarian is one of the things that is quickly knocked out of the school, and aides are put into the library. So RSA Cat My List. I wanted to talk about that a little bit. This is where your patrons can create lists out in RSA Cat, and then they can add things to the list, take things away from the list, that type of stuff. But we have found, well, a library has found that the My List, if you've got a large list, that it is not actually working well in Chrome. So if you have a patron that is having a problem and they are using My List, steer them toward another, either Firefox or yes, Internet Explorer, something like that. But such as I made a big long list here so I could do it. But I'm in Chrome and I can't even click on anything to do anything here. So just.
Do we know what the definition of a long list is?
No, I don't know that I know a definition of a long list is. I think it I did see that in some of Kindle stuff, and I think it might have been over 100. But
So
if you,
this is how many they have.
oh, I have 127 in this one right here, yeah. Where I have this one here is my dog list. It's got 35, and it's allowing me to click on things. So So I think it's 100 is. So if you've got any kind of a patron that comes in and says they're having any problem or call you anything, suggest they use a different browser. So. And this is a bug that Cersei Dynex knows about. Kindle opened a ticket with them, and they know about it. So it's on their list of things to get fixed. So. I better log out. There we are here. Symphony workflows. We are going to have an upgrade sometime before school starts. We don't have a definite date yet, but it will be sometime before school starts to the most current version. And one of the things that is going to be available in that version is items that are renewed can be set up so that your items, when they are renewed from the due date, not the actual date you renew them. So if somebody checked out something and it was due in 3 weeks and they only had it for 2 weeks and they went to renew it themselves, it will renew from that 3-week date, not from the date they actually renewed it. So that's one of the new things that's coming up with that there. Then we will have another upgrade before the end of the year when the next version comes along. And one of the things that Kindle's a little excited, I guess we're all kind of a little excited about in that one, is there will be circulation group mapping, which means things such as if your library says, you know, that I'm only allowing my patrons to have 4 movies, then it will not matter if they are, you know, movie, DVD-R, DVD-J, DVD, whatever it is, they'll be able to group them together, and then you'll be able to limit it to that, and workflows will stop it instead of you trying to say, hey, you know, you've got too many things here, you got to put some of them back. So I think we're kind of excited about that. So you're looking funny, Nick.
Oh, I like that.
Okay, you like that.
Start to use the Blu-ray item type.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I have all of my Blu-rays and DVDs are all DVD item type because.
Yeah, Nick says he uses all DVD item types because he's trying to do the search grouping by himself.
Is
what
the
he's trying to do.
thing going to be fixed?
The what?
Or is that fixed?
No.
Oh, sorry, Brad.
The what thing?
I don't know what workaround we have to do.
He's talking about cataloging magazines.
Oh, the magazine thing. Oh, that was an Erica thing. They talked about it this morning.
I assume though with the grouping, and I said I didn't think about it until for some reason it just popped to my head. If we go ahead as a library and group our cert together like that, it's going to mean it's going to pick up, even if it's an interlibrary, you know, a hold an interlibrary loan from somebody else.
Only if we put all the. I'm not sure how Kindle's going to do it. I don't know. Kindle, are you listening? Obviously not. In my mind, I would, whether all of our DVD ones should be grouped together, you know, per library. I'm not sure how he's going to do it. I would not think he would do just what that library owns.
That's just like in Lakin, our point of having it, and I'm assuming it's kind of Nick's too, our point is 4 from our library because we have a limited collection and, you know, and people want them. Whereas we don't include those, if someone's got an interlibrary loan from another library, we don't count that in the 4.
Okay.
They can have, you know, 10 that they've interlibrary loan from somewhere else, but they can only have 4 of ours at a time.
Wendy was talking about how they do it at Lakin. So the question about, and I don't know if you know a lot about it yet, but the cert mapping thing that's going to be coming, a cert group thing where we can like group the DVDs and everything together. The question was, when you do that, are you going to, like if you're grouping the DVDs together for a library, are you grouping every DVD item type so that if something came via interlibrary loan, or are you just doing the item types that they are using?
Okay, so I've seen development versions of this, which does not necessarily equal release versions of this. What I think is going to happen is that there's going to be the ability to not just group item types, but also libraries together. So for right now, you can get 2 DVDs at one branch and 2 DVDs at another and 2 DVDs at another and go over the limit. I think we'll be able to put all of the libraries and the branches together in one line with all of the user profiles that we want to put together on one line. You guys don't care about user profiles so much, but we do because it means less circ map lines for us. And then the item types list is just a selection list. So we would say this, 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 and this. We can do it either way. We can either set, and we're going to have to completely redo our circ map, which is 4,500 lines. It means talking to every library in RSA to make this happen. It's going to be a project. But we can come up, we know what maps to what, and we can just put out basically a generic list that says, if you want books to circulate for X amount of time, here's our standard list of item types that are books. And unless you tell us otherwise, that's probably what we're going to use when we set up those circ rules. Same thing with DVDs, same thing with Blu-rays. Now, some libraries may say, well, we want all of the DVD types, all the Blu-ray types, all of the video disc types and video cassettes or whatever you got. We want all of those on one line. Other libraries may say, well, we want all the DVD types on one line, but we want all the Blu-rays on a different line. Or we want the new DVDs and Blu-rays on one line, regular DVDs on one line, Blu-rays on another line. So we'll have kind of, much like the item cat 3 list where we know all of these thousands of book user types equal a book, we'll have lists like that, and we'll be able to say, hey, here are the standard lists. How do you serve things? If you don't care if it's a Blu-ray or a DVD, we can put all of that on one line. And even if it's item types you don't have, we can put them all in and get them all in there. Now, here's the problem. You know how I hate adding item types? You know why I hate adding item types? Because every time we add an item type, we have to touch everything in the system that deals with item types, at least for your library. And we just have to assume that at other libraries, when they get it and they check it out, it's going to go out under their default rule. There's no way to update all of these circ map lines at once. So if we add a new DVD type, we're not going to go back and touch a couple hundred lines to add in that new DVD type, more than likely. Unless, when we get done with the circ map, it's only 1,000 lines long, and each library only has 1 or 2 lines for DVDs. But overall, the plan, the way I see it, is if we have the ability to check and add whatever item types we want, there's no point in just doing what you're currently using, because what happens when you add something? We have to go back and, you know, if it's an existing item type, and people do this all the time, they're like, hey, we need a new item type. Sure, here's one on the list. Great, we'll use that. I don't want to have to go back and touch everything again. It just makes sense if we're setting them up from scratch to do everything in an item type grouping, put it all on one line, unless that's not what you want. And that's why we have to work with every library, because some libraries aren't going to want that. Some might want juvenile DVDs and Blu-rays to count different than adult DVDs and Blu-rays. That's how some might get it. So whatever you want.
So if you don't want to be grouped at all, you could potentially not be grouped at all.
We could potentially not group you at all. I mean, and it really, honestly, the grouping part, there's only 2 reasons why you need to worry about the grouping. If you have counts, like you can only have X number of something, the grouping's very important, right? Because now, the way it works now, it's X number, but it's per line, and every item type's a different line. It's very important in that way. Or if things circulate different and they don't use the same circ rule, it has to go on another line. There's no other way to do it. So if you say you can only have 10 Blu-rays and DVDs, but your new Blu-rays and DVDs circulate differently than your other ones, that's still not going to fix that problem, because it's still not all being counted in one place.
So, like with Peoria, you know, we have the DVDs, we have the Blu-rays, we have the new, we have this and that. So we can group all that together, because right now, if a patron come downtown and check out 5 DVDs, they can go to Lincoln and check out 5 new, and then they can go to another one. So grouping these all together will stop them.
Well, what would stop that from happening is the ability, unless they take this out of the product, and I don't think they will, because once you've gone down the grouping road, it's just one more tiny little thing to add in. But library grouping's already also in there, which for me is great because we have 8 different circ maps for you. I'd much rather deal with one and just do exceptions, right? So we can take all of your branches, put it on one line, DVD, here are all these DVD types, and then your patrons take 5 DVDs and they're done. They have to go outside the area.
Big smile on Cassandra's face.
That is how it's supposed to work. Yeah. That's what it's supposed to stop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because our big issue with the different types, they can check out more than we want them to.
Correct. Yeah, and there is no good way right now to stop that from happening. There's a very bad, ugly way, and that's to make your DVDs defaults. But that doesn't work well. Yeah, Wendy.
So when I'm discussing with my director, though, since what we're trying to really attempt is to limit them on taking our DVDs, not necessarily something that's been interlibrary loaned. And since our staff is trained to watch for those 4, and if we group things together, it's going to start blocking them because of interlibrary loans, it's probably better for us to leave it ungrouped, leave it the way that it is, because we're not interested in blocking people from getting their interlibrary loans or eliminating them. Okay.
Correct, yeah. And that's, when we redo this, that's honestly the checkout limits are the big thing. I mean, I can look at most library circ maps, and if they don't have a checkout limit on something and they're using basically the same circ rules for most things, we can probably take 20 or 30 lines of circ map and make it 5. Just because we can pick a whole bunch of things, we don't have to go, this one, and then this one, and then this one, and this one. So that's what we're looking forward to, because it'll make it easier for us to have a shorter circ map. Maybe harder to read through the circ map because you can't just scan down per item type and per library to see an answer, but functionally it'll work better. Yes, go Nick.
Just to make sure I have my head wrapped around this. So if I group all my stuff together, like all my DVDs and Blu-rays together, and then we put all the item types in for all the Blu-rays, possible item types into that, it's going to limit my patrons to 10 Blu-rays and DVD Blu-rays, and that would include any that come in on interlibrary or on transit. Okay. But that won't stop them from going to Morton, let's say, and checking out 10 more DVDs. That's
correct, yeah. So the question is, I don't know if you could hear it or not, but Nick's question was, if every DVD and Blu-ray type at Fond du Lac is grouped together and there's a 10 limit, then yes, no matter where it comes from, because it looks at the checkout library. It doesn't care about the owning library. It only cares about the checkout library, the user profile, and the item type. Those are the only 3 things that count. So it would look at those and it would say there's 10 max, that's all you can have. But if they go to Morton, that 10 rule is no longer in effect because it's a different checkout library. So whatever Morton's rules were, so if Morton had a 10 rule, then it would be another 10 at Morton. It's harder. You have to physically drive to get more, but.
Thank you, Kendall. Thank you. Okay, so that's one of the things to look forward to. Okay. BC Analytics, we are also going to have an update this year. The update for BC Analytics is going to remove the Adobe Flash requirement, so you'll be able to use BC Analytics on tablets and mobile devices if you wanted to. So I'm not sure why, but if you wanted to. Blue Cloud visibility, I did want to touch on that a little bit because it's something we've been talking about for quite a while. And just to let you know that it's still in the process of evolving. We are still harvesting our records twice a month. And all RSA member libraries now have what we call their own library concentric links. And this link, that's not what I wanted, that's where I wanted to be. The link actually includes, well, it begins with your library name that is included at the end of your RSA CAT link. So out on the RSA website, if you don't know it, there is a link for RSA CAT information, RSA CAT links, and every one of the RSA member libraries have a link out here. Click on Fond du Lac. It comes up here, you can see at the very end, well, maybe you can't see in the back, but at the very end here it says Fond du Lac PLD on it. So the new links are, let's see, Fond du Lac PLD, did I spell it right? Dot library dot link. And we come up with some information here about Fond du Lac Public Library. What we have is a map right here. Over here to the side is a little more information. This information over here is how your data has been linked, the different links for your data for your records. And what this is doing is making a presence out here for Fond du Lac that's hopefully going to make it easier for your items to start showing up out in the different browsers out there. Previously what we had was it was like an RSA group link, so that when you went out and tried to search, it was all kind of linked together and you had to get to the individual libraries after that. If your library has a domain name, then what is coming up in the future is another step, which is going to link the information that is sent out there, that we send out twice a month, that will link that information even closer to your library name. So hopefully what we're eventually going to hope is we are going to start seeing, you put in a title of a book and it's going to come up and tell you, hopefully right away, that it is at the local public library. Right now these new links don't have any longevity, so it's going to take a while for the information to come up to the top so that the search engines can crawl through the data. What we would suggest you do is go out and try your link to see if they work. We do already know that at least Lily M. Evans, Beth had reported their link does not work. So if it does not work, you need to report that to Kindle so that he can report that to Cersei Dynex and we can figure out what is going on with that. The second part where it's going to link the data to your domain name, if you have a domain, just kind of keep watching the listserv for that. Kindle is getting exact information on that, which he will send out. It will be something that your webmaster or your IT people at your library will have to take care of, getting this to create the other link that you're going to need. So one of the things here, let's see if this worked on this one. Did not work. Try this again. Well, when I did this before, it came up in, let me try it down here. Nope. Well, I don't have the, what happened when I did this before is it came up with a list of different things, and that took me directly to this link, and then underneath there was actually where you could see what a title, there was a book under there for Fond du Lac, but since I can't get that to do that here, we will just kind of ignore that, kind of to give you an idea of what the pages we're going to see in the future. But just to know that we're still working on trying to get this to work the way that we expect it to work, or we hope that it's going to work. Like Eric and I keep hoping we're going to see it working here eventually. So, and to go ahead and try your library link out and see whether it works or not. And if not, let Kendall know. Okay. A little bit about the Kosugi or the Cersei Dynex conference that I went to in April. It was Erica, Kendall, I, James, and Doug who went to the conference this year, and it was at Salt Lake City. One of the things that they kind of use as their theme, I guess, is what I want to say is the phrase is, I believe in the power of libraries, and Cersei Dynex staff had like polo shirts on that had that on there, and they kept using that off and on during the conference, and they say that they are going to actually be making shirts and pins and everything available in case anybody would be interested in those, but it was something that they were really pushing. Excuse me, I'm sorry, my throat keeps going dry here. I wanted to give you a little update on Blue Cloud circulation, which is, of course, the where the Blue Cloud products is where Cersei is migrating toward right now. Blue Cloud circulation, it's getting a little closer, but it's still not developed enough that we want to use it at all for our libraries. But it's going to be Cersei's main focus on their Blue Cloud products this year is working with Blue Cloud circulation. Lots of things, you can do the checkout, you can place holds, you can return things in it right now, but there are things you cannot do, such as limiting user search by a library. You can't modify a hold, you can't place a default pickup library, you can't enter addresses, it displays addresses, no receipts. So, it's still quite a ways away from, when our libraries can actually use it. But hopefully this year, as they are concentrating on it and giving a lot of their attention to it, maybe it will be something in the next year or two that we might be able to make available to our libraries. I did go to a circulation sharing session, which is normally one of my favorite sessions to go to when I go to the conference, because normally what happens during the circulation sharing session is libraries will get together and they will talk about the workflow circulation module, and ask different questions or say, I'm having trouble with this, or there's always a Cersei Dynex staff in these meetings, and so they'll say, hey, this isn't working right, can you tell us, what we need to do, or can this be a bug, or something like that. This year was nothing like that, and it was a very disappointing session. Nobody had anything to say about workflows, and it ended up being a session of just basically procedures in different libraries. They had nothing to do with workflows, like, if you have this certain patron come in, how do you treat, type thing. So that session was a little disappointing this time, because I usually enjoy that one right there. But I did go to a session on workflows circulation, and some of the things, of course, I did mention the renewal by due dates, which is coming, which should be, I think, in the next version that we're doing. There are some changes in on-shelf holds processing, and it's going to be prioritized by the date it's last charged, and then next the date last used, and the date created. Right now, I kind of have a feeling it's more of the date created. It always seems like the most recent one is the one that gets the hold placed on it, so they're changing that a little bit, so it does not appear to be that, it's not going to be that way any longer. The circulation policy grouping, which we just talked about, they've expanding the RFID vendor support to different vendors, and Then I did go to a mobile circ session, and for any of you that, and I did not actually see this, and they did not show one, so I don't really know what it looks like, but there is now an RFID apparatus that connects to your mobile circ device, which you can use for RFID. So if anybody is interested in that, I can try to get them more information, and I'm seeing that Nick looks like he's kind of interested in that back there, so look into that for you, Nick, okay. Let's see. Just a little bit of talking book update, just for any of your libraries that have any of your patrons that use the talking book. The equipment and other unused items have already been sent down to the Illinois State Library. And in the Rails newsletter, if any of you have seen them or not, they do have pamphlets and posters that are available if any of your libraries want them for talking book, and they'll be available until the end of June, and after that they will also go down to the state library, so you'll have to contact the state library if you want after that. If any library would like to be what they're calling a talking book ambassador now, to contact Rose at Burr Ridge about that information. And all talking book services are going to be moved to the state library, I think the end of September. Does that sound right, everybody? So they will no longer be in this building. All services will be coming out of the state library now. So also, if you see the Rails newsletter, you might have seen this, but just to let everybody know that there are free vendor passes available for ALA. So if you're not going to ALA but would like to go and just go through the vendor, see the vendors, and there's lots. I mean, there's tons of vendors because it is ALA. There is information in the Rails newsletter on how to get that. Just to let you know that, I mean, the way ALA is going this year, it is over the weekend, so you could go up on a Saturday or a Sunday and actually go through the vendors and see the vendors. And then I've also heard many people say that it does not just have to be library staff. People even take their whole family up there. So if it would be something you like to take somebody, I'm thinking maybe my daughter and I are going to go up either Saturday or Sunday that week and go to the vendors. So now that we just wanted to let you also all know that on Friday, July 21st, there will be a Rails staff retreat where all of us are.
I think it's actually Thursday, July 20th.
Is it Thursday?
Yes, Thursday.
Okay, Thursday, July.
And that has been changed. I know there's been a couple different dates. So.
I went out and looked at one of my emails I got, and I saw the 21st. So now it's Thursday, July 20th?
Yeah, because Stark Rock was booked up that Friday, so.
Okay, Thursday, July 20th. RSA staff will be on Rails retreat, except for Erica, who will be on vacation. Okay. And I think I've talked, oh, one other thing. Now, I did put this out here where you can see it. And I don't know how many, I wasn't going to mention it, but then I decided to. I don't know how many of you actually are on any of the OCLC listservs, but OCLC has been moving their listservs around. They've got it done now, so that you may find, if you are on any of them, the information you're getting is going in somewhere else. It's not, if you have a folder or something like that, it's not going into your folder where you expected it to go. Some information here on the new OCLC listserv, and basically the software that their listserv's on, the vendor is no longer providing support for that version because it's old. And then it seemed to me like they really picked this up after we had the last whatever went on when we were all getting, you know, when there were security problems and everything. So it does say the new version provides additional functionality and security, and they're moving their listserv off their primary domain name to some other place, and I'm sure that's for security purposes. So if you are on any of them, they automatically moved you to the new listservs, but if you've got rules or anything set up in your Outlook or wherever you're getting that information, it's probably not going where you think it should be going. So that I just included that out there for anybody that might be interested. So okay, I think my part.
Okay. Other circulation business?
Martha,
Yeah.
under circulation topics, new items.
Oh, did I skip that one? Okay, there is a new item type. They just want to let everybody know, and this was, like Kendall said, he does not like to add new item types. So Nick was the one who got him to add this new one. So if anybody is interested in the new item type is games. So if you have like board games, card games, dice games, this is not like for video games because they have their own item type, then there is a new item type for games, if you would be interested in that. I'm sorry that I skipped over that.
And this will count for like tabletop games, because we got a girl whose goal this year is doing tabletop games, and she's getting a nice little crowd in.
Is she?
Yeah, and she got some donations for a lot of games that we haven't cataloged.
Oh, so now you'll be able to catalog them thanks to Nick,
I
huh?
can let them know.
There you go, Nick.
As of June 1st, we will be circulating our board game collection,
If I'm black, will be circulating as of June 1st.
or non-transitable, but
Yeah, Nick will be, they'll be circulating their games as of June 1st. What are you putting them into? Just out of curiosity, what are they being put in?
what do you mean?
I mean, it's just the box, or are you putting in some kind of a case or something?
We have, it's gonna be a little weird. We have the box at the game with a lot of game pieces in, but then because we have those boxes out for people to play in the library also, we keep some of the pieces back in like a plastic container back in the storage room. So they can come up, like, if they want to play in the library, they can come up to with their card and then do it. Or they have to come to the desk and ask for the extra pieces. And then we'll be giving them the box and the plastic container with the extra.
So he says they're giving them the box and the plastic container with the extra pieces that they keep in the back room. So
Some of the games are expensive, so we're trying to
play in the library. So are they actually being able to take them out of the building, or just,
Yeah.
okay, they can take them out of the building or play?
Inside the building since we moved to the new building.
Okay.
But now we're going to let them circulate out, I believe.
Okay. Previously, they could circulate and play them inside the building, but now they're allowing them to be taken outside the building.
You have to walk into the building and get it.
But you can't play Soldier. You have to walk into the building and get them.
Non-holdable, non-transferable.
Yeah. And they can't transit to other libraries, so.
And what kind of games these are?
I believe we're launching with about 75, 78 different board games. I mean, it's board
Oh,
games.
wow.
75 to 78 board games.
Dominoes, like,
Yeah.
it's a pretty big gamut. We tried to, we have some avid board gamers in our library, and we've looked at a lot of different resources and trying to have like anything from beginner games to some fairly advanced.
Anything from beginner games to advanced games, so. Dominoes, other advanced games.
Yeah, I mean, some of them have like tons of pieces and miniatures, and I mean, it's
Some have tons of pieces and miniatures, so. Wow. It'll be interesting to see how that goes.
Pieces.
Yeah, and whether your pieces come back
So
or not.
pieces come back.
that's why it's taken us 3 years. to decide to
136
circulate that.
associated materials.
But there are other libraries that circulate right now. I want to say there's 2 or 3 libraries in the system. Like we looked up, I think Ticket to Ride is a good one to look up.
Chile has a lot.
I think Chile, Don
Nick
Last.
says there's 2 other libraries,
I think Chile and Don Last,
Chile and
maybe one
Dunlap.
other is circulating.
and maybe one other circulating.
Some libraries use digital scales to weigh their pieces to verify, but we've heard before that that's not accurate.
Some libraries use digital
Paper
scales to weigh the
band.
pieces to see if they're back. Wow.
So we're going to be counting pieces.
So Nick said they'll be counting pieces.
500 associated materials later.
Yeah.
We're not doing associated material.
No.
I hate associated material.
Says they're not doing associated materials. They call us pop-ups, right?
Oh, it's messing with self-check.
Yeah.
You can't use self-check if you have associated material.
All right, is there any other business? Okay, the next circulation committee meeting will be September 14th at 1 o'clock. We're now adjourned.